Hello and welcome back to Wednesday's vlog. Another stressful morning. This is the daily life of when you're trying to run a business. I think people forget that you actually have a life as well and you're running a business. Like, for example, I'll go through what I've got in. This morning I told everybody I'll be in 9:30. Believe it or not, I've actually got a bit of a tan from Sunday. It was that hot. And today, no word of a lie, I woke up and it was snowing. It was actually snowing. So it was pouring rain this morning. As you can see, I've already got my Jeep here, the Astra's in, and I have that Picasso out there. So the garage is full. So yes, I've got my Mercedes at home, which I could drive in. But the main reason why I don't want to be driving it in is because if I bring it here, I've got no space in the garage to keep it overnight because I need to walk the dogs back. And naturally, as you've seen, I have my two dogs. They're part of my life. Been put in the office for now, in there. So naturally, I've got two Springer Spaniels. It's not an option to leave them at home because they're not the kind of dogs that can be left in the house. If I bring the car in, they'll just destroy the office in there. So they need to be walked in, they need to be walked back. So, that's my life. I said this week 9:30. So anyways, this car in particular, this was booked in, this Prius, for all day. So it'll be dropped off at 9:30 all day. So the guy says, I need the car. And I'm like, well, okay. You should have rang us up like a couple of days ago and cancelled. Because, obviously I've got there's another car out there, the Yaris. This Picasso is in for today. And he said, but I need it done. I've got about an hour. And I'm like, well, I've got somebody waiting who I was going to check the panels under his car because he's just finished a night shift on this little Yaris. I've got to get this Picasso sorted, then I was going to spend the rest of the afternoon sorting this Prius. I just wonder what people think. So today's not going to be a great deal about work because I need to crack on now. So I've sent him on his way in the rain up to the cafe. Anybody else, I would have normally on a normal working day, I would have probably given them a lift. But it's like, how can I explain it? Like, if you booked a boiler appointment, say, at 10 o'clock, and the guy turns up at 10 o'clock, and they've said it's going to take, say, 2 hours, 3 hours to do the boiler, and they turn up at 10 o'clock, and you go, I need you out the house by 11. They're going to turn around and go, well, no, because the job takes longer than that, So, I just don't understand how people work with these garages to think that, like, just because he needs to do something, that I'm going to drop the other jobs that were booked in before it and do his car in an hour. But bearing in mind, we'll get into the job anyways. Now, what it is, when it's starting up in the mornings, it's got a bit of a rattle. And I said, well, it could be the timing chain. Yes, I know it's a Prius hybrid and stuff, but they still have a normal engine. I think in these ones are like a 1500 or something, or I don't know. But anyways, he said, forums know better than everything else. He said it's the spark plugs. So I said, I don't think the spark plug will cause a rattle on startup. No, but it says that on the Prius Owners Club. I said, oh well. I said, so you want us to change? Not cheap. Said, the other here. I said, they're iridium, not platinum, iridium spark plugs. I'm sure they're about nearly a tenner more each, them. So yeah, he says, change them. So naturally, concerned at that, he goes, well, it's been 2 or 3 years since the plugs have been done. I said, well, that's fair cracking. I said, might as well just change the plugs. If it doesn't fix the problem, at least we know that something's been changed that's probably due to be changed. You're not throwing money down the drain. But he says, but would you have a good look at it to see? I said, the only way, I said, if it's doing it on a cold start-up, I said, by the time you bring it to my garage, it's warm, it's been driven, I can't do that. So you have to leave it with us for the whole day. I said, I'll have a look underneath, check it's nothing like with the belts from the bottom, check round the belts, check the oil. I can't really see the chain, but mainly let it stand for at least 2 to 3 hours to let it fully cool down, especially the day when it's been snowing. And then I'll do a start and see if I can hear this noise, because I'm working blind. Like, people come in and just go, oh, I've got a rattle, and they expect the mechanic to go, oh yes, that'll be the this or the that. There could be thousands of things, especially on these like hybrid, where they're all like half electric, half like petrol engine, so there's all sorts of noises these things make. As you know, my mum and dad's CHR I've just sold. When you knock that thing off and you're sitting inside, it starts making all these like you can hear loads of little solenoids and sensors moving about in the background, even when the car's switched off. So yeah, they're buried down there, so I'm going to have to see what I can remove out the way. See, this is another thing, like I told you, well, I need it done in an hour. I says, well, I don't know what's involved here. Like I've said, it's a hybrid. You know, I mean, bearing in mind, people, before you say before anybody yaps, so you need professional qualifications to work on an electric vehicle. I've already done a basic course on it. All you do is say, stay clear of the orange cables. They're the high voltage cables. That's what'll kill you, basically. All of this here is exactly the same as what's on a Toyota Yaris. So, no, you don't need... The only thing is, make sure the key's out, because they can start up if you accidentally leave them switched on, which you wouldn't leave the ignition on when you're messing around with coil packs anyway and spark plugs. So, I'm going to crack on now, try and get some of this stripped down, and we'll have a look, because I'm curious to see if the plugs even need changed, but that's his request. So then I need to get on to the Picasso, a few little bits, and we've got the car outside, but I'm going to crack on with this first, and we'll get on to the other stuff afterwards. So I'll cut out of this video now, and I'll rejoin when we've got some of it stripped down and get the plugs out. I would do a recording of doing it. It's not very interesting. It's just a few nuts and bolts and that. I need to crack on as well with it, so I'll get back to you when we've got it stripped. Right, welcome back. That's it, wasn't too bad. Bit awkward getting the ratchet down because this gets in the way, and you can't even use an electronic ratchet for nothing. It's just too big. So we've got the fuse box out the way, coils pushed out the way. We managed to get the plugs out. There were Denso ones that were in. Yeah, I know Denso's original equipment actually with these Denso, but I'm never keen at Denso plugs. Never been keen to them, and I've heard some not so good reports about them. But then again, what Toyota, believe it or not, supply sometimes are NGK over these, but I can't really get it to focus on something. They're not too bad, but at the same time they've been in quite a while. Customer's request. He's read up on the Prius forum. They obviously know a lot of stuff, supposedly. And to be quite honest, I would much prefer set of NGKs in my car over Denso. I know that sounds ridiculous, but honestly, NGK plugs are definitely the ones to go for. Yeah, I forgot to mention before, I'm just going to quickly go through this bit because I need to crack on and get these back in. Yeah, I forgot to say as well, obviously, when he turned up, that was obviously the guy dropping the Yaris off and that. So, you know, he was like, well, I need it done now, need it done in an hour. I'm like, well, hold on, mate. I've just literally got to the garage, put the dogs in the shed, in there, walked out to the main road, opened up the gate, wet, it's been raining, cold, and he was like, oh, well, I'm like, well, I'll need to see to this guy first. Then when I've seen to this guy, I need to go into the garage, I need to open the tool cabinet, I need to get the Picasso out, open the doors, and then bring yours in, then actually get a start. There's half an hour. I said, so there's no way I'll be doing this in half an hour. So then after I've done that, I says I need to obviously finish off doing the job, test drive it, check it's fine, write the invoice out, then give you a bill, because no doubt he'll turn up very soon and be putting his hand out just saying, have you got the bill? It's like, yeah, mate, the fairies have just wrote the bill out, the dogs have just wrote the bill out in the office. You know, it's like, people really, and the main point that really got me back up was, he's like, I'm just going to wait for it, if that's okay. And I'm like looking around, like, you know, you see my place here. I'm like, wait for it? Like, thinking he's meaning like, I don't mind, don't get us wrong, like, kind of, there's the odd few select people I'll let in the workshop because they're in that old gear. If I ask them to hold something, do something, that bang, straight up like that, doing it, helping out, stuff like that. There's quite a lot of our customers do that. But people who are just going to stand around and watch you, I'm not really keen at that, and if you're in this trade, you'll know where I'm coming from. There's nothing worse when you're trying to do a job. Unless it's somebody's genuine, like the guy yesterday with the L200, no problem with that, because that was what was arranged. I made sure I had a free afternoon to do it. Happy days. Same with my pals when they're coming with the car, but when it's a paying customer as such, you don't really want them standing over the top of you watching. And if I had a great big dealership and I was charging £120 an hour, I would have a nice big viewing area for them to sit and watch, if that's really what they want to do. But yeah, that was really my thing. He goes, well, he says, and I'll just wait while you do it, like as in wait in the garage, because as you've seen outside of my place, I don't have waiting rooms or nothing. That's the office, but that's full of paperwork, money, like stuff like that. You know, I don't really want customers sitting in there with the dogs as well. And then he was looking around like, well, he says, well, what? I said, well, there's a cafe up the road, Cafe 31. I says, I'll go there every Friday. Oh, well, it's raining kind of thing. And I'm like, well, that's another hint of you're wanting a lift. So what am I expected to do? There's a guy standing there with the Yaris who's dropped it off, and he actually lives in Stakeford, which is a 2 mile, not 2 mile, about 1.5 mile walk to his house. Not a complaint. Regular customer I've had for years, and I generally felt guilty that I couldn't give him a lift back because Andy had been on night shift, because he understands I'm on my own. For me to give somebody a lift back, I'm going to have to lock up the garage, miss the deliveries, waste more time actually not doing the job, and when I get back the car's going to be even more roasting hot to actually work on the engine. It's like, so I just don't get it. So they need the car back quick. They're wanting to wait for it. They don't want to walk anywhere, but if they want to walk anywhere, they want a lift. Some mornings, honestly, in here, that's set to test you. The guy probably means absolutely no wrong. Nice guy, actually. Just, I couldn't get it into my head. Like, when you've got your car booked in all day, why you would turn up at 9:30 when somebody's just opening up the garage and go, I want it done in an hour? Like, because I told him, I says, like, you do realise your car's booked in, but these other ones are booked in first. Yours was going to get done in the afternoon. I said, so now I'm going to have to drop everything to do this. It's like, I don't know. And when you do find the bottom of the truth with people, when you find out the reasons, I've had these people where they are adamant they need their car back for then, or they can't bring it in till then. And when you actually hear the excuse, like, it's pathetic. It's like, yeah, you could have walked there, you could have gotten a bus, could have gotten a taxi. It's like, you know, I don't mind hospital appointments and general important stuff, but a lot of people's excuse for needing the car is pathetic. And that's the good old one. If any of you out there, mechanics who watch this, you'll get where I'm coming from. It's like, how can I put it? It's like, people want their cars fixed, but you can't have their car. Like, they ring up and it's so urgent, what's going on with that car? It's scraping, it's not starting. Right? Bring it in. Oh no, I need the car. It's like, well, what do you want us to do? If I cannot have the car, I cannot fix it, can I? So anyways, we'll get together, like I show you. Bit of silicone grease I'm going to put on into these coil packs. It works great so they don't get stuck. I'll show you. You've already seen this stuff. This is it here. Silicone grease. It's looking a bit worse for wear now. I'm due to open the new one. And you just stick a bit of that into the end of each coil. So when it goes over the plug, it creates, obviously, a water seal so that it stops any moisture getting in. And also, when you come to pull them off, it doesn't let it stick as much. And obviously, silicone is conductive, so it doesn't affect the spark. So there we go. We'll get this put back together. And I'll get back to you, we'll see how it starts up. So there we go, it's all back together. Luckily I've managed to do it in time. I still need to write the invoice out and work out if it's actually fixed it, which I'm doubtful. Check the oil, just to be on the sure side, which it seems fine. So we'll go in and we'll start it up and see what it sounds like. Oh, let's have a look. Obviously these things are all very spaceship-like inside. There's all sorts of strange buttons and stuff. So press the foot on the brake, key in the slot, power on, and that's actually on, but we'll need to press the throttle with it being a hybrid to make it fire up. So we'll have a listen. Seems sweet as a nut to me. Don't know what that sounds like on camera. That sounds lovely. So there we go. We'll leave that one there. I'm going to get the Yaris in when this one leaves. We'll see, it's meant to have a rattle underneath or something like that. Sort that, and then I'll show you what the Picasso's in for. And we'll just keep it a bit short today, because I did a long video yesterday. Keep it like that, so I'll be back soon. Right, on to the final part of the video, just quickly. We've got the Yaris on the lift. It's got a bit of a rattle. I've been around it. Had a little bit of a look. First things first, we looked at. Mainly have a look around at the exhaust, give it a bit of a knock. I personally couldn't hear anything. I thought we're having a look at the shields around here. The exhaust would be nice to see these things get a bit crispy underneath and that, but there's nothing what I can see. Hanging off, checked all the bearings. Check the back springs. So what leads me to believe it could only be something on the front end. These tyres, by the way, these all seasons. These Coleman all seasons look like a cracking tyre, those. Plenty of chunky tread on them. So we'll have a look around the front area. I've already done work to play with me, aren't like there's no play. Check around the wheels, checking the springs. Have a look around this side. So certainly I can tell that's broken because the angle it's sitting. And if we're looking here, if I leave that light shining, I'll tell you what the rattling will be. There's your rattling. Bottom coil broken off. As you can see by the pile of springs down there, we're doing loads of them. That's what the noise has been. You tell me. I was having this discussion with the guy the other day. Is it the cars that are getting worse? Is it the material that the springs are made with? Or is it the roads? I think it's a bit of everything. That's only just from last week, you know. So, yeah. So, luckily with these Yaris, the springs don't really go anywhere on them because they've got a nice big cup. If this was a Fiesta, the spring would have dropped down into the tyre. As you can see, it's just sitting there on the edge. It can't actually go anywhere. So, with this, she's not really using the car much at the moment, so I'm just going to tell her just to... it's fine to drive it back just locally, not bouncing around or nothing like that. When the weight's down on the spring, physically can't move anywhere. It's just when it's on this lip here. So just to drive it back home, because I haven't got time or space to do it here. But if you have a look, there's a little gap in here. See that little hole there? I'm just going to use some heavy-duty ties. This is just temporary to get the car back to hers and then back to the garage when it's actually in next week and booked in. And that'll just keep it strapped to there. The only way the spring would go anywhere would be not actually driving normally if you went over like a humpback bridge or something when the weight actually lifts up. So all you need it to do is to keep it down in line. And you might think, oh, a couple of cable ties. Believe it or not, these like heavy duty cable ties will actually secure it in place. And just a note, it is just a temporary measure. The car's been driving up and down to London like that for the last few weeks. It was just said it's been rattling on, so it's been fine. But since I've found it, I have a care of duty, because I'm going to be driving the car back to her house. It's only a mile up the road. I just want to know that it's safe. So, like, at least by putting these on, like, yeah, you certainly aren't going to be able to go flying over humpback bridges, because it clearly wouldn't do the trick. But it's a temporary measure just till I can get the car actually booked in. It's better than what most places would do, which would be nothing. You know, because I just simply haven't got the time. I've got 2 other jobs in this afternoon. The MOT on the Picasso. Tomorrow I've got a fair bit in, servicings and stuff. I need to get my car actually out of here as well. And no doubt the phone will ring and there'll be other stuff that needs to come in. So, yeah, that's that. So, really, we'll have a quick brief walk around this Picasso. It's only in for MOT. It's been in for other work, which we'll go through. This actually used to be my car many years ago. It's had new front tyres. It's had all sorts, actually. ABS sensors. We've sent it away. That was a headlight not working, and they've repaired the wiring on it. But yeah, it's one of the few Picassos on a 54 plate. If you look, there's no rot on the sills. That's just superficial stuff. They're actually solid, because I filled these with cavity wax many years ago, and that's what's kept it so good. Actually, if you can get over the kind of googly looks, and you know you're not going to win no drag races or fashion competitions with them. Do you know what it is? They're a cracking old car, them. The Zara, and not a bad car. Practical wise, you drop the seats. Actually, the seats completely come out as 3 units in the back, and you've got a van, but you're paying cheap car tax, cheap car insurance, and you've got all the positives of a van. You can pop the seats back in if you need it to be a car. Genuinely, again, if one of those come up cheap with solid sills, I'd have it. They're absolutely great. Especially that one, that's the 2-litre HDI. Much better engine. Then they put the 16s into them. Yeah, the 1600s have a bit more poke and stuff, but they're a lot more unreliable and technical, where them old DW10s are a cracking engine. Absolutely great. That one's the non-intercooled one. Unfortunately, they never put the... which one's that again? It'll be the... Is it the 90? Yeah, the 90 brake horsepower non-intercooled one. And then they did the 110s. But I don't think they ever put that into the Picasso, because they put the 1600 in. So, yeah, we'll leave that one here. It's a bit of a shorter vlog today. As you know, I need to crack on with some work, get done. I've had somebody wanting to come in later on the night, my pal. so I had to work back a bit late. But there's snow in the forecast and stuff. I can't get over this. Honestly, I got a bit of a burn on Sunday. I've done a video on that when I was out with the dogs. If anyone's interested in us putting it on, and I've got my thermals back on the day. Three tops, thermals. Yet on Sunday I was walking around shorts and t-shirt. Cannot work it out. So yeah, we'll get sorted. Get this thing off the lift, then I need to be away with the MOT to do the Picasso shortly. So yeah, thank you for watching. If there's anything that you want to know, please leave a comment. If you enjoy it, hit the like, and please, if you wouldn't mind, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe. But please, hit the likes. I mean, I'm getting, like, within 24 hours, I'm getting like 60 to 100 views in 24 hours of my videos, and I'm lucky if I'm getting 4, 5, 6 likes. Please just hit the like button. If you're watching it on the TV, there's a facility to hit the like. It's even easier if you're watching it on a phone or a laptop. But that's what keeps us going. I'm noticing that the number of the likes are starting to kind of drop out a little bit. And I spend my time making a video for 45 minutes, an hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm stopping what I'm doing. Like I've mentioned, I make pennies out of some of the adverts that come on. Please hit the like button. I'm not asking for much, am I? It just helps me channel progress, helps me, what do you call it, the algorithm or whatever on earth it is. If I can help it, if I can get more subscribers, happy days, because I've been watching what I'm doing, and I seem to be putting just as much effort, doing just as much content as what some of these people are with flipping, like, mental amounts of subscribers. I can only do it so long. I can only kind of keep doing it if it actually carries on to be successful, i.e. getting regular feedback, plenty of likes, the odd new subscriber. But if it just sort of hits a stalemate and stops, then I don't know how YouTube works like that. I haven't got a clue. I'll keep doing the content, but I don't know what YouTube do, because if they suddenly cut whatever you do, if you don't kind of meet the figures, then I don't know if they pull the plug or what. I don't know how it works. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Catch you tomorrow. Bye.